Picture this. You switch on the news, and the anchor calmly announces that the US dollar is no longer the world's go-to currency. Overnight, coffee imported from Brazil costs a little more, the interest rate on your mortgage inches higher, and Wall Street looks uneasy. It sounds like a thriller plot, yet the forces nudging us toward that future are already in motion. For 80 years, the dollar's crown has rested on three pillars: trust in US political stability, deep and liquid treasury markets, and America's outsized share of global trade. History shows reserve currencies do not reign forever. The Dutch guilder, the Spanish silver dollar, and Britain's pound each had their moment before giving way to new powers. The question is not whether the dollar could slip, but how fast and what follows. Start with the numbers. At the beginning of 2025, central banks held just under 58% of their foreign exchange reserves in dollars, down from roughly 70% at the turn of the century. That sounds like a gentle drift, yet beneath it lie sharper currents. Nearly all of Russia's trade with China now settles in rubles and yuan, instead of greenbacks. Saudi Arabia, once the bedrock of the petrodollar system, has joined an expanded BRICS bloc and hinted it might accept multiple currencies for oil. When big economies diversify, smaller nations take notice. Policy adds another layer. Washington's ability to freeze dollar assets after Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine showed the currency can be used as a geopolitical tool. Allies applauded, but many others quietly wondered if they might be next. Combine that concern with America's budget and trade deficits, both hovering near 6% of GDP, and global appetite for treasuries starts to wobble. If foreigners buy fewer US bonds, the government must lure them back with higher yields, raising borrowing costs throughout the economy. What might a post-dollar world look like? Picture a crowded council chamber, rather than a single new king. Europe imagines a stronger, more global euro backed by deeper capital markets. China pushes to internationalize the yuan across Asia and Africa. Digital options, from central bank coins to gold-linked tokens, are racing ahead. Yet each rival carries baggage. The euro lacks a unified fiscal engine, China enforces capital controls, and crypto remains volatile. For now, the dollar still wins by default because everyone else has drawbacks. Default settings do change. If confidence erodes further, a feedback loop begins. The dollar weakens, imports get pricier, domestic inflation rises, and the Federal Reserve faces a brutal choice: defend the currency with higher rates or rescue growth with looser policy. Either path hurts households. Higher rates pinch mortgages and credit cards, while higher inflation eats paychecks at the grocery store. Investors are already hedging. Sovereign wealth funds are buying more gold and short-term euro-denominated debt. Retail investors are trickling into international exchange-traded funds that track India and Southeast Asia, and some are allocating small slices to Bitcoin as digital gold. None of these moves will topple the dollar tomorrow, but together they mark a strategic retreat from a one-cent challenged fortress. Should anyone panic today? Hardly. The United States still hosts the deepest capital markets, world-class universities, and a formidable innovation engine. Yet dominance is a spectrum, not an on-off switch. Losing even 10 percentage points of reserve share could increase US borrowing costs by hundreds of billions over a decade and make every imported good from sneakers to semiconductors more expensive. So what can you do? First, broaden your map. If all your savings, income, and investments are tied to one currency, you are betting your future on a single roll of the dice. Consider scattering exposure across regions poised to benefit from a multipolar world, such as infrastructure in India, renewables in Europe, or consumer growth in Southeast Asia. Second, hold some real assets that do not rely on central bank promises, whether precious metals, productive farmland, or a modest slice of provably scarce digital assets. Third, stay informed. De-Dollarization is not a headline that explodes once. It is a slow-burn story that rewards those who watch the embers. Dollar dominance was built over decades and, if it fades, will unwind in the same way. Gradually, then suddenly. Whether that sudden moment lands in 5 or 15 years, one fact is clear: the chessboard is already shifting. To stay 3 moves ahead, hit subscribe and explore the resources waiting in the description. Your future self just might thank you for spotting the next chapter before it is written.